Sometimes the biggest battles in our lives aren't with people, but with the voices that are shouting at us in our hearts or across the valley. You know the story of David and Goliath well. It's not just a children's classic or a cartoon. This was a real battle with real people and real consequences. It was a collision of faith and fear in a place called the Valley of Elah. On one hill, you had the Philistines, and on the other, you had Israel. And between them was this valley and a 9'9" tank named Goliath. Goliath's armor weighed more than a grown man. His spear, just the head of his spear, was 15 pounds. And Goliath came out yelling and mocking, daring someone to fight him. And it wasn't just a one-time challenge. It wasn't just a one-time threat. No, the Philistine came forward morning and evening. For 40 days and nights he took his stand. Does that sound familiar? Because that's how our giants operate too. They don't just knock once, they linger. They shout in your face every day. Fear, shame, temptation, depression, financial stress. That voice that says you'll never win. Like that's your Goliath. And while the entire Israelite army was shaking in their sandals, David shows up with lunch for his brothers and ends up stepping onto the battlefield. No armor, no experience, just a shepherd boy with a sling, 5 smooth stones, and an unshakable trust in God. What made David different? It wasn't his size. It wasn't his skill. It was his sight. Everyone else looked at Goliath and saw a giant too big to fight, but David looked at Goliath and saw a target too big to miss because David's focus wasn't on Goliath. His focus was on the Lord. Now remember, you and I know the story. We know the sling and the stone defeat the mammoth with the armor. But no one knew what was going to happen that day. Goliath, in that moment, is still an imposing presence. There wasn't a guy in either camp that would have bet on David. But David didn't need their backing. He needed God and God alone. He knew what Goliath didn't. He knew that the God of all heaven and earth would guide that stone to the place on Goliath's body that had no armor. He said to him, "You come against me with a sword and a spear and a javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel." Not that I come against you with my stone throwing skills, right? This is about the Lord. He said, the battle is the Lord's. And with that stone, he dropped the giant like a sack of potatoes. And here's what we have to remember. Giants don't fall because we're strong or skilled. They fall because of who God is. We still have to step out onto the field. We still have to face the valley. We still have to pick up the stone. But let me ask you today, what are your giants, the giants that you're facing? What's shouting at you every morning and every night? Don't avoid the giant. Face it, not in your own strength, but in his. Not looking in the mirror to find confidence, but looking to the Lord. People may come against you. Circumstances may overwhelm you, but you put your trust in the Lord. You reset your perspective, your sight. Look to him. Faith doesn't blind us to the realities in front of us. Goliath's still big. Faith doesn't change that, doesn't change his size. Faith changes my focus. It opens us up to the reality beyond the giant that's in my face. If you look at the giant, focus on him, you'll panic. I mean, if I'm comparing myself to someone that's 9'9", game over, I'm done. But look past the giant. When that giant is placed next to the infinitely powerful King of the universe who knows me, who loves me, who is for me, who holds the seas in the hollow of his hand, well, some giant that's not even 10 feet tall doesn't stand a chance against the King of the universe. So today, reset your perspective. Look at your giant, but then look at the Lord. That giant isn't having to deal with you. The battle isn't yours. The battle is the Lord's. That giant's got to face him. So fix your eyes on the Lord and fix your trust in him.